Hi everybody, my name is Becky and I'm podcasting from Saskatchewan, Canada, and this is the For the Love of Knit podcast. If you are joining me again, welcome back, and if you're just hearing about me and joining me for the first time, welcome. I didn't think I had a whole lot to share this week because it's been quite a busy week, but I do have some things. So I think I'll just jump right into it and just start. I don't have any finished objects, but I do have a couple works in progress, plus one that I'm about to cast on, I'm hoping tonight. So I'll start with the one that has been ongoing, and it's my Huhui shawl from Joji Locatelli. And okay, these are the stitch markers that I've been using so far, because I didn't know there was such a thing as a stitch mark, or not a stitch marker, a progress keeper, until I started watching some podcasts. And I just ordered my first one. You'll see it coming up here. Anyway, so I had marked here that this is where I had left off last time. So I had completed all of the sort of beige color, and then worked through the repeats on the rows, which is basically just knitting 2 rows of each color. And then, so that's where I left off. And then it's got a whole bunch of short rows. So you kind of knit back and forth, which creates the sort of the lacy netting part. Anyway, so it doesn't look like I got a lot done, but I've actually got a lot done. I'm really excited, like really excited. I can't tell you the name of this sock yarn. It was something I purchased like 100 years ago, but the orange color is, and I tried to make sure I have all of the labels so that I can share the information. So this one here, I don't know, I gotta figure out how to zoom in on things like that, but it's the Malabrigo, and it's in the terracotta colorway, number 802. And so I'm hoping by the end of the weekend, well, even before then, like I'm hoping by tomorrow night, I have the I'm finished the lace work to here, because then I start doing the 2x2 rows again of the orange, and I caked it up because I'm pretty confident that I can get this going on the weekend, and I can't wait because I really want to see how this works into it. Hopefully, I don't know how the colors are gonna look. Doesn't look very good, but it's actually quite pretty. There's lots of purples and teals. Maybe if I block the thing there. And it is Manos del Uruguay Alegria, and the colorway is A7105 Malvin. So I'm pretty excited to see how that will mix in. I'm not sure because of the variety of colors. Like in the pattern, they suggested solid for all of the things, which like the blue, or sorry, the brown. I mean, clearly that's not all one color, but it is pretty uniform, all in the same shades. The orange is very tonal, so you've got from light to dark. So I'm not sure how this is gonna translate with the lacy border. But hopefully next week I will have that to show you for progress. So that is that done, or work in progress. My second work in progress, I had gotten this, I subscribe to Knitology, to the yarn dyeing subscription, and this colorway was from their April mood board, and it was based on the season finale of The Walking Dead from this year, which was fabulous. I think I've mentioned that before, and I can't say enough. But the colorway is, I don't know, is called Walker's Delight. And so I was looking at it and I was like, I can't wait to do something with this. And it came with a few pattern suggestions, and one was the Maleficent shawl pattern that I did in the purple, the Ladies of Downton colorway that had come from March. And I wore that in the first episode. And so I caked it up, and I thought, you know what, I don't want to do that all like, because with my other one I had sort of a solid color to sort of counterbalance the changing colors. So I decided to go with another Joji Locatelli pattern, and it's called the Retreat Cowl. So I started that late last night and worked on it a little bit today. So you do a provisional cast on. So I've just got some blue waste yarn here. And then it's really just a very simple ribbing pattern, and you're slipping the first stitch on each row. So that will create the ability to pick up the stitches, because what happens is you knit it like lengthways, but then you take the waste yarn out when you reach the length, which is about 22 inches, and then you take the waste yarn out, pick up the stitches, and then do a 3 needle bind off. So it's a fairly seamless way to do the cowl up. Now they suggest that this is the right side of the fabric, which in their picture they had a one color skein of yarn with, it was very tonal, so it was blue with like darker blues and lighter blues, like, but very subtle, very similar to my orange for my Joji Locatelli Huhui shawl. So you see the subtleties. So when you had it this way, it looks amazing, right? And it creates that visual interest. But with so many changing colors of this one, I don't really like this side as the outside. So I think when I'm done, I'm actually going to have this as the outside. And so it will actually sit this way. And the reason I think I like it is because you've got all these channels, and this is gross. I watch, one of the shows I watch is iZombie. Fantastic show. You've got to watch it. I'm watching it on Show Me. It's based on a comic book. But the little channels kind of remind me of like how our brain have different channels. So I'm actually going to call this cowl my iZombie cowl. And I don't know with the lighting if you can tell, but with the red, it's a little bit tonal, so you'll get little hints of pink. So as it was working up, I was looking at it and I was thinking, man, that looks like when the character in the show, is in the morgue and she's just having her lunch, which is a bowl of human brains. And anyway, if you haven't seen it, it's fantastic. It's like a detective kind of show with a twist. She's sort of a, I don't know if you'd call it a half zombie, but she's still a bit human. And so what happens is she works in a city morgue, and when she eats the brain of, say, a murder victim, she gets little snippets of memories that this person would have had, and it helps her and the detective in the show to eventually solve the crime. And it's a really neat show. It's quite funny and it's very quirky, and I really like it. I'm kind of behind though. My husband and I have been watching it, but we've taken a bit of a hiatus because life is just busy. But as I've been working on this iZombie cowl, I have thought I need to like get going on the show again. Anyway, so that's my iZombie cowl, and I'm hoping that I have enough because I've got the one caked up and then I've got the second skein of yarn. I'm hoping one skein makes one cowl, and if so, I'll probably keep one for myself, but I have a friend in town who is also a Walking Dead fan, and I told her I'd like to make one for her because only she would appreciate wearing something around her neck that screams of zombies. So we'll see how that kind of knits up. It's a very fast knit. I'm guessing I should be able to be done the project, I'm hoping, by our next podcast, which, by the way, when I initially started, my goal was to record every week. Life right now in our family is extremely busy. It's soccer season, so our family is fully immersed in soccer. So I am finding it tough not just to do the recording, but actually to have enough progress made on my knitted pieces to actually make it worth showing to you. So I'm kind of thinking I'll probably record every 7 to 10 days. So like a week to a week and a half. I think 2 weeks is too long because then people lose interest, and I don't want to lose interest. But just for the next few weeks anyway, until soccer season is done. And then I think I could probably go more to a weekly podcast. But just watch for it every 7 to 10 days. That's all I have for works in progress. And like I said, I'm probably going to cast on a third project tonight. And it is a pair of socks. The Grocery Girls podcast is hosting a knit along, or a cow, and it is a sock knit along. And I've been wanting to cast on a pair of socks for a while, and I did cast on a pair of Jaywalkers, and I ripped out that because I really want to participate in this knit along. And the premise of the knit along is that you use a technique in knitting your socks that you've never used before. And I've always wanted to try knitting socks, toe up socks. So usually I knit from the cuff down through the heel to the toe, and then do your basic Kitchener stitch to fasten it off. And so I think my new technique, new to me, will be toe up socks. So I ripped out my Jaywalkers, And again, I'm going to be using this, gosh, the light tonight is not the best, and I apologize for that. I'm trying to find like a good place in my house to podcast from, lighting wise. I would have sat out on the gazebo this evening, but it's quite windy and it looks like it's gonna storm. So I figured I better just kind of try upstairs. So this one is also from my Knitology subscription, and it is called the Double Knockout Rose. And the content of that is 75% spring superwash merino with 20% nylon and 5% stellina. So I'm going to use that for the body of the sock, and for the toes, heel, and cuff, I'm just going to use just this creamy white color. And the brand name, I got this when we lived in Thunder Bay, Ontario, is Sisu, which is actually, I believe, a Finnish term. And if my Finnish friends out there are watching, Julie Johnson, your family maybe can correct me. I believe Sisu means tenacity, and the Finnish people are very tenacious people. I miss it out there actually. So it's just a basic cream color, and it's just, I think, basic sock yarn. 80% wool, 20% nylon is all that it says. So that brand again is Sisu. And the colorway is just a number. And there's several listed, so I'm not sure which it is. Anyway, so I'm hoping to cast those on tonight because the knit along ends at, I think, June 16th, 15th, middle of June. I have to go on their Ravelry page and double check when that date is. I should be able to crank those off, I would think, in the next few weeks and get them added to that knit along. If you haven't seen the Grocery Girls podcast, which is on YouTube, you really have to check it out. Here's Podcast Love, hashtag Fangirl Extreme. It's two sisters from Edmonton, Alberta. Oh, I'm sorry about the glare on my glasses. Horrible. And then I get this weird shadow thing happening. Anyway, two sisters from Edmonton, Alberta, Tracy and Jody, and they are absolutely hilarious to watch. I have been binge watching their podcasts. I believe they've got 14 out right now. They're a little bit longer, but well worth your time. I'm envious of the amount of yarn and knitting accessories that they acquire. Anyway, Tracy and Jody, I don't know if you're ever gonna watch this podcast, but if you do, know that I love you, and please, I've seen other people mention, if you would ever consider doing a knitting retreat for a weekend somewhere, Banff, Jasper, somewhere close to you. I'm in Saskatchewan, close to the Manitoba border. I am willing to like drive or fly and then drive to some wonderful location just to hang out with you and fans of your podcast and just have a weekend of fun and quirky merriment and beverages and knitting, of course. And I would definitely, I would travel even if you were on Vancouver Island, which would be great too, because my sister lives out there and I haven't been out there for many years. Kind of feel badly about that, but someday. Anyway, the other podcast that I've been watching is another fellow Canadian, and her name is Jenny, and she is from the Lone Larch podcast, and she also has an Etsy store, Lone Larch Designs, and I'll put the little blurb with her information at the bottom of the screen. I also have sort of binge watch / marathon through her episodes. She also has, I think, 14 episodes. She's just an amazing person. She's quirky and funny, and just the kind of person that you would just really want to hang out with. And the thing I like about her podcast is she is an arborist by trade, which is a person that grows and takes care of trees, and she does landscaping and stuff. So she does have a section on her later podcasts talking about trees and, you know, if they're diseased, things to watch for. And I find things like that really interesting. So Jenny, I don't know if you'll ever see this because I know you watch many podcasts, but I really enjoy your section on trees. And anyway, if you can, check out her podcast because it's fantastic. I really, really enjoy it. Acquisitions. This one was actually not a purchased one, but we have a lady in our congregation. My husband is the pastor at a Lutheran church in the town that I live in. And a few years ago, we had a member who passed away, and I saw her daughter this weekend, and she had said that she had some knitting needles and to pass on to me that were her mom's. So she brought those for me, and it's just your basic knitting needles, and then there was some double pointed knitting needles in there, which I'm kind of excited about because some of them look rather more pointy than the ones I have. The ones I have are fairly dull, and you know, when you're working with a fairly fine yarn, it's nice to have that sharp point on the end to lift up the stitch. And the ones I have are fairly dull and sometimes can lead to anger management problems for me. But anyway, so she brought me some of her mom's knitting needles, which I will cherish. And so I'm very appreciative of that. And in the bag was just a big, huge ball of handcrafting cotton for making dishcloths and things like that. So I'll probably use that to whip up a bunch of cloths for gifts for people. And every year our town has a farmer's market, and I always think about getting a table and having, you know, some of my hand knit stuff and having a spinning demonstration so people can see that aspect of things that I enjoy. But I don't know that I can have enough stuff done by September. I think they're having them every month throughout the summer into the fall, but I wouldn't be prepared for anything until probably the September one. So I may like crank out, I've got some neat kind of pattern ideas, and I think like I could put that to great use. So that was a non-purchase acquisition for my stash this week, and I'm very appreciative that I have knitting needles that have a lot of knitting history. This lady was quite a prolific knitter, so that meant a lot to me that her daughter thought of me. So Karen, thank you for that. My next acquisition was actually, so I discovered Etsy. I mean, I've known about Etsy for a long time, but I've never actually purchased anything off of there. And the 12th was May 12th. Can't remember what day that was. Monday, or was that Friday? I can't remember. Anyway, I realized that I don't have restraint when it comes to making yarn and yarn type purchases. Like no restraint whatsoever. I spent a pretty ridiculous amount of money, which I'm hoping my husband doesn't watch this podcast. Although I have my own bank account that I purchase those things out of. But man, like the girls, and I haven't watched any, like a whole lot of knitting podcasts. I'm just sort of starting to get into them, but some of them, like their acquisitions every week are just amazing. So I'm writing down all these things and I'm thinking, how can they afford to like purchase these things all the time? I don't know. But anyway, this, I ordered from 4 vendors, and the first one arrived today in the mail. I actually was home today from work. I get a lot of migraine headaches, and so woke up with quite a nasty headache. So I sent a message that I wasn't going to be at work, and I slept most of the day. And at the end of the day, realized I needed to go get a couple of groceries to make supper. And I just realized, darn it, I needed to get sandwich meat so my daughter could actually have like a nutritious lunch tomorrow for school. I'm not a very good mom sometimes. Very forgetful. Part of it, I think, is because my head is still a little bit pounding. So I'm not thinking totally clearly. Anyway, Madeline, if you're watching this, which I highly doubt you are because you're not interested in knitting, I apologize. I totally forgot to pick up sandwich meat. Although I picked up Italian sausage, and I'm gonna do that with some spaghetti and sauce. So maybe you could take that and warm it up for lunch tomorrow. Problem solved. Okay, now back to my Etsy purchase. 1 of 4 arrived today, and I think it's because it's from Canada. The other ones, one is from the United States, so that takes a while to get through customs, and the other 2 are actually coming from Australia. So I'm very excited for those to come, but I am so excited to show you what I purchased. I don't even know where to start. I'm so excited. So, okay. So I like spinning, and there is a lady out of Thunder Bay, which we lived in Thunder Bay area for about 5 years. We moved to Saskatchewan 8 years ago. My husband had been serving a Lutheran church just outside of Thunder Bay in an area called Lappy, which was a huge Finnish settlement. Very interesting people and just a really neat experience. Anyway, came across this lady on Etsy, and her shop is Firefly Fiber Arts, and she's out of Thunder Bay. Anyway, she sent me this sticker in my shipment today, which I'm so excited about. My doctor suggested a high fiber diet, so I went yarn shopping. Her name is Maggie, and again, I'll put her information at the bottom of the screen, but again, it's Firefly Fiber Arts. So I found her, saw she was from Thunder Bay, thought, oh, I need to go check this out because I kind of miss Thunder Bay. It's a very beautiful area of Canada. If you've ever been or looking for an amazing place, it's part of the Canadian Shield, so it's sort of unlike any other part of Canada. There's like rock everywhere and pine trees for days and Inuksuks built everywhere. Lake Superior is there. It's a very beautiful area. And while I was out there, my good friend, Julie Johnson, had heard that I wanted to learn how to spin. And so one day my birthday came up while we were there, and she gave me a card, and it had a little bit of money inside, and it was to help me pay for a how to spin class, which was offered by the Thunder Bay Spinners and Weavers Guild. And I loved it. I had wanted to spin for a long time. I'm not very proficient and I'm not very prolific, but I hope one day to be. Anyway, long story short, Maggie, the owner of this lovely Etsy shop, had an orifice hook for the spinning wheel, and it's copper, and I love owls. Okay, this isn't going to translate very well because I'm not very good at focusing. Anyway, I love owls, and it has this beautiful, almost steampunk steampunk type owl. So I got that, which came in this lovely little canvas bag with like little drawstring, which I thought was such a nice little touch with the thank you. So I got that, and then she also had these stitch markers and a progress keeper, which has the same owl, and it's amazing. Anyway, I'll lift up the stuff. There's her information. Uh-oh. Hopefully this focuses in for you. Anyway, her name is Maggie, and again, I'll make sure that that information is there. So I have some nice like little stitch markers, but I've got this great progress keeper. I don't have to have like these little safety pin things that come attaching my things anymore. Super happy. Super pumped. I think you can tell because my face is flushed, and that happens when I get excited. So those were two of the things, of the four things I purchased from her. The other things were these little packets of merino and silk Rolags. And I'll just show you this one. Sorry for the glare from the windows and everything. Actually, can I take it out without... No, it's, sorry. Anyway, it's got purples and blues and creams and browns, and I'm pretty excited to spin that one up. The other one is also merino and silk, and it is blues and gray, silver, and copper. I'm super pumped. I hope, I can't eat. It looks orange, but it's actually copper. I need to take this out. I'm sorry for the crackling here, because that's going to, I'm wrecking your sticker, Maggie. They're so cute. Oh my gosh, it's so soft. Oh, it's so pretty. It's so soft. I cannot wait to spin this up. Anyway, it comes with 4 little Rolags in each bag, and it's 1.5 ounces for the blue, and I think 1.6 ounces for the other one that I got. I can't even breathe. I'm so excited. Like, not only is this my first Etsy purchase, but okay, so those were the 4 things I ordered. So the extra she sent was like this awesome sticker with her logo, which is completely adorable. My nice little canvas bag for my orifice hook for my spinning wheel. She also sent a mini skein of BFL sock yarn in the raspberry colorway, 5 grams. And I love your stamp, Maggie, with the color for your logo. Fabulous. Anyway. And with it, there was another little stitch marker. And it's sort of like a purple, which is my favorite color. It's like an iridescent purple, reddish, bluish. It's really, really pretty. Really pretty. Oh, I wish I had better light because you can't even see how it it just gleams in the light. Anyway, so she sent that, and I'm a huge tea lover, and I understand she sends out tea with each of her shipments. And so she sent lemon ginger, and this one, mojito mint green tea. I think I'm gonna brew up a cup of that tonight. And then I think I'll take this one for work tomorrow. Anyway, thank you, Maggie. That was just so unexpected to get those extra little things, and it just totally made my day. I'm just pumped. Like, you have no idea. I had such a wicked headache today. I went to the post office, and the postmaster there gave me my package with a big smile because I think she knew that there was some really fantastic things inside. Anyway, that is it for my stash acquisitions. I think I have to wait patiently for things to arrive from Australia. And then the other thing that I have ordered is coming from the United States, I believe Maryland. And so it takes a while for things to get through customs. Until the American dollar is a little bit better, I don't know how much I'm going to order from the States. But I have come across a listing of an amazing list of independent dyers in Canada and online shops and things. So I think I'm going to explore that because our Canadian dollar to the US dollar right now is really, really, it's really ridiculous. Like but the stuff I ordered from Maryland is pretty exciting. The scraping that you're hearing is my dog outside, and what he does, he's about 60 pounds. He jumps up on the door and looks in the window and scratches like, I'm ready to come in. And I'm not ready for him to come in, but he clearly seems to be. Better let him in or this is going to continue. Sorry about that. Okay, you'll probably hear his clicking paws. We really need to trim up his claws. They're getting kind of long. Anyway, I think that's probably it for this time. The only other thing I want to recommend is there was a documentary on Netflix that my daughter and I watched this past weekend, and it's called The Champions, and it's about, there was a case many years ago in the United States of NFL player who had a dogfighting ring, and I believe his name was Michael Vick. Anyway, this documentary is about the dogs that once upon a time would have been euthanized when they were rescued, how they have actually been able to rehabilitate many of them who have been adopted out to amazing families. And I think there's several dogs that are featured throughout the documentary. So if you have Netflix, it's called The Champions, and it's an incredibly moving documentary about people who just didn't give up on these animals who were put into a horrible situation. Hopefully it raises some awareness. And I think the reason why it was so poignant is because I live in a small town close to the Manitoba border in Saskatchewan. And for the better part of, I'd say, 6 months, we're surrounded by farms. For the better part of 6 months, a lot of the dogs in our area and surrounding areas have been disappearing. And there is rumor that they have been taken for a dog fighting ring close to Regina, Saskatchewan. I'm hoping that that's not true, but we're talking over 50, 60 dogs that have just disappeared. And these families, of course, are devastated. Most of them are farm dogs, right? So they're working dogs, but they're still part of somebody's family. And anyway, this documentary was just fantastic at showing that some of the dogs couldn't be rehabilitated, and so they're in a sanctuary where they're very well taken care of. But there's many that have been able to be adopted out to families, and many families that have young children, and it was just such a joy to see them have a quality of life where before they would have been euthanized. Anyway, you can find me, I should probably have said this at the beginning. You can find me on Instagram and on Ravelry, which is a knitting and crocheting community for people that maybe are unaware of that. So on Instagram and Ravelry, my screen name is KnitGirl2006. So you can find me there. And on Ravelry, we have a group page, and it is called For the Love of Knit. So if you go into the group tab, type in For the Love of Knit, you should be able to find us. Join the group. I really want to, maybe toward the end of June, look at doing maybe a knit along or something, because I think that's part of the fun of having a podcast group where people can work on a project together and share the results. And down the line, maybe we could do some swaps of some kind. Anyway, if you want to go there, hit join group and then introduce yourselves in the discussion thread where you can introduce yourselves, and you will find my videos obviously on YouTube. Oh my God, Becky, seriously? Cut. Anyway, I hope you guys have a fantastic week. If you are a knitter, crocheter, weaver, spinner, enjoy your fiber arts this week. And if you're just along for the ride, we'll see you again next time. Bye.